we left a less than tranquilo anchorage. It was another good test for the Mantis anchor. The prevailing winds usually come from the north, so we had been sailing mostly downwind from Santa Cruz. Then we'd be rounding the south end of the island.
Well, we got the spinnaker up again. Next time I promise I'll film it. Wasn't too much trouble. A couple of untanglements to do, but as usual, the more you do it, the better you are at it. So cool though, the spinnaker. Such gentle. Me and Dan both got like sick. I'm just getting over it, and I think Dan is starting to get it. And we think it's our friend Jean, who was sneezing last time we saw him. He went off to Cape Verde, and I met him in Santa Cruz. He was sneezing and sneezing on my boat, and complaining about some tooth infection or something. He probably had a virus, and then like 10 days later, I'm sick as a dog. It's my voice. Now it looks like Dan might be getting it.
Dan definitely had it. A couple of days earlier, I curled up in my cabin going from shivers to sweating it out, and was totally congested. They say you don't get sick at sea because you're not in contact with anyone. The islanders in the middle of the Atlantic are far from mainland epidemics. It's us visitors who bring the bugs. We were getting near the popular southern coast. This is where most of the tourists go. The punters, as they say in England, come in droves on budget vacation packages. It's also because here the climate is warmer and drier. Guaranteed sunny 25-degree climate all year round. Quite the selling point for the mostly grey and rainy British Isles. In general, the Canaries don't have many good anchorages. That's due to the geology and geography. The islands were created by volcanoes from the ocean's abyss. Just a small distance from the coast, and the depth gauge goes blank, indicating endless depth. Whatever sand that erodes from the mountains seeps downward past the rocky coastline. As for the weather, well, we're in the Atlantic. It's generally windy, and the only protection from the swell are the islands. You just have to make sure to be on the right side of the islands. Here, we were on the right side of the island. There was a small cove that offered good protection. But there was already someone there.
We decided not to go in there in that little cove. It's a little tight squeeze, bunch of buoys and stuff, and there's a lot more room here, and it seems just as calm and chilled out. There's only one catamaran and then a catamaran motorboat. It's like he's leaving. Oh, maybe he's just turning. No, he's leaving. See ya. Cool. It's just gonna be us, a couple boats here. Perfect.
I couldn't respond to Dan. I was taken away by his fashion sense.
Dan's shirt is the same color as the sunset. Exactly the same color. Tu rayonnes plus. Much better anchorage. This is cool. Mellow here, nice beautiful sunset. And it looks like there's a bunch of campers camping out on this beach. And we're a little bit isolated here. It's cool, awesome. We like it.
This was something me and Dan had hoped for when we were refitting Galopin. This was the sought-after cruising lifestyle. One perfect day and one perfect spot. But let this be known, this is a rarity, which is why it's so enjoyable. It's like winning the lottery. We went for a swim and a look at the Mantis anchor. We played it safe the night before and let out a lot of chain. The depth gauge said 8 meters plus 2 more for the boat's draft. That meant the anchor laid at more than 10 meters, or more than 35 feet. For me, that's pretty deep. Pardon my swimwear, I had something to prove to myself and wanted nothing to hold me up. The mantis anchor laid on some rocks and seemed okay. We hadn't dragged overnight, so all was good.
Just dove in, checked on the anchor. It's pretty deep. And I got in down there pretty good. When I came back up, I was just like, all this congestion came out of me. Felt good. You good, Dan?
Very. I am happy, guys.
Dan just had a few days left before heading back to France. We had to continue. This side of the island is spotted with big hotel chains. Some fit into the landscape, others scream for attention.
Actually, those two big buildings there, the ones that are slightly colorful, are the Hard Rock Cafe or Hard Rock Hotel. Huh.
Dan has an impeccable sense of style, but was not as well informed on sports celebrities.
Ouais, montre-nous ces baskets.
See you, my new basket today.
They're tennis shoes.
No, basket shoes.
Tennis shoes.
Basket shoes.
C'est des Stan Smith? Les vrais?
Les vrais. Look.
Mais Stan Smith, c'est un joueur de tennis.
Ouais, je sais, noir.
C'est Arthur Ashe qui était noir.
Ah oui, Arthur.
The island shields the wind, so we motored along the coast. We are near Los Gigantes, the giants. This is what the valley from Masca looks like from the ocean. Me and Dan were there in a previous episode. It seems you can anchor there and head into the valley. I wish we'd had the time to explore. Still under the protection of Tenerife, the wind was non-existent. But it would not be long until we'd get thrashed around.
Okay, immediate change in conditions, which I was a lot better prepared for than the last time. There's absolutely no wind in the protection of those big rocks, those big cliffs there. And then I could see the sea color changing and some white caps. I told Dan, let's get ready, man. It just comes so fast, man. Put on a jacket too.
You either love it or hate it. This is sailing in the Canaries. And hate it or love it, you learn more about sailing and yourself at every outing. We were close to our next destination, looking forward to tranquility and warmth. It was getting cool with the wind and all, and Dan's flu was creeping in.
So we're arriving at the Marina de Garachico. It's a new marina here in the town of Garachico. Garachico was once covered up by lava, I guess. It was pretty much destroyed, and they've rebuilt it, and they recently put in this marina here. So we're gonna go check it out tonight. No Anchorage Marina time tonight. So it was a really nice sail. Good amount of wind, some swell. Just typical Canary style sailing. Okay, this is definitely a tricky marina entrance here. There's a good amount of swell. It's a very narrow entrance. I've been told to be careful coming in here, so I'm trying to communicate this to Daniel, but he keeps doing this stupid fucking French sarcasm that's really bugging me.
Stupid Swiss!
He's supposed to be the one that's most experienced and stuff, and he doesn't know any more than I do how to get in here. So we're watching these other guys do it, and we should be fine. Just don't need to go too fast. Well done so far, Dan.
Bon, ça te va, le Suisse? On est rentré au port?
Sorry, it was a ball buster. I'm just a little tense here. Once we're inside, looks cool. All right. We are in the port of Garachico here. It's Monday morning. We made it here yesterday and had a really nice calm night, sleeping. No swaying, nothing, and it's really adorable here. So they got this huge protective seawall here that must be a good 10 meters high, must be more. And I was just talking to some guy, he said that there were times and there was a day when the waves crashed over this wall. Can you imagine? It's gigantic. I love the depiction of Neptune on there, it's cool. Decided to stay an extra day here, it's pretty nice. And we'll head back to Santa Cruz tomorrow, but for now, let's go check out Garachico.
You can see how the lava flow covered up the town years ago from this satellite picture. My cousin and I had come here and swam in the natural pools, but did not explore the town. We were blessed with another perfect day of cruising. We let our feet do the voyaging here. Sailing speed is close to walking speed. It's about taking your sweet time getting somewhere so that you appreciate where you are one step at a time.
Nice little butcher here. I don't know, I'm tempted to come here and hang out for a few days, weeks, month or so. Apparently the marina's cheap. The only problem is there's no internet, so I gotta figure that out. And again, that would do me good.
No internet. How nice. Then again, I rely on a social monster to get these videos out. But to be honest, I spend more time editing than socializing. It's funny how the web works. If I put a sexy thumbnail image on one of my videos, I get a lot more views. Somewhat perverse, but that's the reality of things. Now back to the reality of exploring the town. I'm not so keen on reviews and web opinions, so we simply wandered.
Found a typical little place it looks like because there's no tourists and the menus are in Spanish. And what's funny about this place, they have a cuckoo. ¿Por qué tú tienes un cuckoo suizo? Un ladrero suizo.
Porque nos lo trajeron unos amigos suizos.
¿Sí?
Sí.
Soy suizo.
Ah, pues lo compraron en Suiza.
¿Sí? Fried cheese, I love this.
Esto, afrodisíaco.
Gingembre.
Okay.
Estás un pibe.
I hope the bartender didn't get the wrong impression from Dan's sense of style. The weather was forecasted as being good the next day. Well, that depends how you interpret good.